Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So as I said in a recent community post, I spent a lot of money on PC parts from AliExpress recently. Now a lot of people don't still trust AliExpress, but I've bought various different CPUs, different parts, a bunch of different things, and they've all worked fine. And AliExpress quite often have deals on, and you can save a lot of money. And that's exactly what this video is about today. So overall, in the last couple of weeks, I've spent around probably over £1,000 on PC parts. Now all the stuff here will probably be around 800 to 850. Some of the stuff I'm still waiting for. But this was the first haul of parts that we ordered in the first deal that came up recently. So in this video, we're going to be unboxing everything. I'm going to be going over the prices for all the individual parts and just going through it all and unboxing it all. I'm really excited to show you guys what we got, and honestly some of this stuff came within 1 week. It was only 2 items that took another week, which came today. So I'm really looking forward to unboxing this and even using all these parts for benchmarks and future PC builds. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. Alright guys, so you will also see that I've got my webcam set up. That's just so we can have like an overview angle of it. And that's why my microphone's here as well, because for them clips we'll be using my microphone rather than my camera mic. So let's just start with the unboxing anyway. So these are the 2 bits that have come today. And I know this is a motherboard. I'm pretty sure this is a B550 motherboard. This is an ASRock B550M. So Wi-Fi SE, so it's going to come with Wi-Fi adapter or dongle. So that's pretty cool. And obviously they always ship with an IO shield as well. Oh, there's the other antenna. So this is a budget board, nevertheless, but it doesn't actually look too cheap. So you can see there we've got for the Wi-Fi antennas. It's got 4 RAM slots as well. Now the reason I went for a B550 motherboard, I probably won't be putting this into a flip as of yet. I'll be using it because basically in this haul of parts we have got a bunch of AM4 CPUs, and I know obviously they will work on B450, but I wanted to get a B550 board just for the PCIe Gen 4 support for SSDs and stuff. And overall it looks like a pretty solid board. Has one 8-pin connector for CPU, so it's not the most budget boards because some of the B450s have only 4-pin. How many fan headers, because that's another thing to look out for, is a lot of the budget boards, B450s from AliExpress, only have like 1 or 2 fan headers. So we've got that CPU fan there, chassis fan there, another one there, 3. So there's at least 4 fan headers including the CPU fan, so 3 additional for your fans, which is great. It looks like it's got 4-pin RGB connector there. They never ship with a CMOS battery. That's one thing to take into consideration. And obviously, yeah, it has got the Wi-Fi antennas as well. That does look a little bit bent, that Wi-Fi antenna. It's held in by 2 screws, so we could always just straighten that out if it doesn't sit correctly in the IO shield. But yeah, I will kind of try and show both angles. But yeah, so we paid, I'll try and speed up because otherwise we'll be here for ages. We paid £65.83 for this ASRock B550M motherboard, which honestly is not a bad price. Obviously you can get B450 motherboards for around £40 on there, but for the fact that this would be handy for more higher end AM4 boards, CPUs, that would be great. So let's pop this in the box because we've got a bunch to go through, and I don't know how long this video will be if I keep waffling for too long. So we're on to our first CPU now, which is a Ryzen 7 5700X 8-core CPU, and let's just bring up the price straight away. So Right, we're going way too far back now. So we paid £89.39 for this 5700X, and I'm not sure exactly off the top of my head, but let's just check Amazon. 5700X, I don't know if it would probably come with a cooler, but at the moment on Amazon they're £158. I assume that's with a cooler. But yeah, so we have saved quite a bit of money on this, because obviously we've only paid £89. And I know, like I said, I don't think people fully trust AliExpress, but all the CPUs I've bought from AliExpress have been absolutely fine. There we have it. Probably won't be able to see it, but 5700X. So that's great. Because I have not had this CPU before. I had a 3700X in my first PC, because I only switched to PC in 2020 or end of 2019. But yeah, so that was quite a good deal as well. Now on to the next one, Ryzen 5 7500F. Now this is a CPU that you cannot get in the UK very easily. You can get it in pre-builts, but I'm pretty sure it's mainly businesses that are able to get this or put this into PCs. If you want to go to Amazon or anywhere like that, you won't be able to find this, or it'll be really expensive. Or you'll find it on eBay, but people will be selling it for more than they paid for it, and most likely you've got it from somewhere like AliExpress. But the Ryzen 5 7500F, we paid £95 for. So that was quite a good little deal actually. £95 for an AM5 CPU, which has 6 cores. It's very similar to the 7600. I think it's just slightly clocked. It's clocked slightly lower. So this is really well packaged, to be fair. Like I said, most of it does come really well packaged. The only one time I had something arrive from AliExpress damaged was when I ordered some cheap air coolers. But I mean, they were £5 and I used them before, so I thought I'd get some more, and their boxes were smashed. But I returned them to AliExpress and I got a refund within a week. So yeah, Ryzen 5 7500F. So as you can already imagine, yes, we've got a motherboard coming as well. Or sorry, we've got a motherboard in this box of stuff. So yeah, £95.44, including VAT and everything, for the 7500F. Sorry. So I think this is just an AM4 cooler, like the stock coolers. Now the reason, the reason I got this was because, oh my god, it's got thermal paste on it. That'll teach me for grabbing it like that. I don't think it'd have thermal paste on it. Interesting. But yeah, so AM4 stock cooler. I paid probably about £5 for this. Let's have a look. I think it was one of the more recent orders. So no, we paid £8.70 for this stock cooler, which is absolutely fine. It'd be good for budget builds. You will see we got some real budget AM4 CPUs. And the good thing is you can take these top bits off and spray paint them white, which will be good for some white builds that we've got coming up. So it's always worth having these cheap coolers. Now I do normally tend to just put in like a £16 decent air cooler from Amazon into builds, but if it's an ultra budget build, I won't bother. So, right, the next thing we've got, Ryzen 5 5600. Now we paid So on the listing it says £99.86, but that's for a Ryzen 5 5500 and a 5600 as well. So it does say the price is there. It says we paid £48 for the 5600, but that is plus VAT. So because it's pretty much £100, I would say we paid, realistically, let's say 55 for the 5600, and we can just say 45 for the 5500. So that's a very good price. Once again, 5600 CPU will go for around 190. So 5600 is £102. It doesn't include a stock cooler, but as I've shown, for £8 more. So we basically paid like £55 plus £8 for a cooler, and we've saved over £40 by doing it this way. Now, one thing to note, these are all brand new CPUs as well, as far as I'm aware. I think it was Nerd on a Budget. I don't know if you guys know who he is, but he's a tech YouTuber as well. But he made a video saying basically they're all brand new CPUs and they're just like bought in bulk. I don't know if it's for businesses. Maybe they're bought in bulk for companies that are going to sell pre-built PCs so they can save some money. But as you can see, they are always sealed as well. And we have tested the Ryzen 5 5600 before on the channel, but we did sell that PC. So some of these CPUs I will keep for a while for benchmarks, and not just Fortnite but other games. And obviously I've gone over the Ryzen 5 5500, which I don't know where it is right now, in one of these bags. The 5500 is here. I won't unbox it because we've already gone over the price. Well, I did open it because I'm stupid. But yeah, Ryzen 5 5500 and Ryzen 5 5600 for £99 bargain. Now here we've got some DDR4 RAM. So this should be 8GB of DDR4 at 3200 MHz. So 16GB total. I bought quite a few of these. They're by, I think they're Killsbury. I've heard of this brand before. I don't know if it's quite popular in China. But Killsbury DDR4. Now the only downside to this RAM is the cache latency is quite bad on them. I don't know how much that will affect performance. But because these will cheap anyway, I'm not too bothered. See, they're CL22. Which normally most kits are like CL18 at 3200 MHz or CL16 actually. So I don't know how much that latency being high will affect gaming, but like I said, these were cheap and they're nice white sticks, so they do look good. Hopefully they perform okay. But let's pull up the pricing for these. As I said, guys, I got quite a bit. So originally I bought two sets of these, so 32GB in total, and we paid $43.93. So that's basically £22 for 16GB of RAM, which will be absolutely fine for budget builds. I normally try and pick RAM up for £20 second hand, and I always put 16GB in because, well, I think 8GB just isn't enough nowadays. So we have here Ryzen 5 2600X. So quite an old CPU, but for budget builds, honestly do a good job. I don't know if you remember on the channel a couple months ago, we built a all-white £250 PC, and we used this processor. Now that processor I did pick up from eBay back then, and I think I did pay about £35 for it. But we've got two of these Ryzen 5 2600X, and they cost. So we paid £58.21 for two. So two Ryzen 5 2600X. So that works out about £29 each one, which is actually great for budget builds. And we also did get Ryzen 5 2600 non-X. So there's the other X variant, which I won't open because you've already seen one. But then we also did get the Ryzen 5 2600 standard, which we paid. Honestly, the difference in price is so minimal. I should have just got 4 2600X, but we paid £55 for 2 Ryzen 5 2600, which isn't bad because, I mean, what does that work out? £27-ish. Absolutely fine. We still got a very good deal. Still be perfect for budget builds. And then, now this is some good RAM. So up until this point, I didn't realise, but my microphone was muted inside of OBS. So even though my camera died, I didn't do anything because I thought my mic was picking up this sort of the overhead cam. So basically, the next part is the Team Group Delta DDR5 RAM. Now we got this for a really good deal on AliExpress again, and basically we paid £92.70. Now for reference, if you bought this RAM off Amazon at the moment, it would be about £114. So we didn't save a lot, but we did save over £20. Now the RAM was brand new, and I will just say a few days later after testing, the RAMs worked absolutely fine. The Expo or XMP profile is stable. I've had no issues using this RAM. So honestly, this was a great deal overall. The RAM's clocked at 6000 MHz with CL30, so that's completely perfect for the Ryzen CPUs. But anyway, we're carrying with the video, and this was when I realised my mic wasn't working, so my mic will be working after this part. But if you're enjoying this video so far, please drop a like and maybe even a comment. So here we have, I think you called it Pew Skill. I hope I haven't butchered that name. But these are two M.2, not two, sorry, I have got two though. But these are M.2 SSDs, 256GB. Yeah, they should be like 3,500 megabytes or somewhere close to that. But I will just show from this angle. So we have got two of these, I believe. It does come in a fancy little box as well. So this is the first time I've actually ordered M.2s off AliExpress. Well, actually it isn't. I did order some Crucial P3 Plus because they were at a good price. Oh, let's just throw it. But the drive doesn't look too cheap either, which is good. It's got a nice little plate on it, or heatsink that would be. But yeah, it does say NVMe 2280, which I don't know exactly what that means, but I know it's Gen 3. Now I don't think, actually I did order, no, these were ordered slightly before and I already used one, but these are just RGB controllers. They're handy to have if your motherboard doesn't have 5V 3-pin headers on them. I will show you what they look like. I've been using these actual ones from Cool Moon, for a while. You get the remote. You obviously get the controller, and as you can see, it will also, you can also connect your 4-pin fan headers on there, but I don't do that. I just connect them directly to the motherboard so we can control the speed of the fans through like fan control. But I do use the 3-pin for the RGB, and there's a cheap way to do it because these only cost, so I bought 3 of them for £19.57, so that works out about £6.50 each one. You obviously get your cables, SATA power, and yeah, that's all you really need. There is a temperature sensor and all these kind of ones on there, but I just use, as long as they're powered, it's absolutely fine for me. So that's what's in these boxes. And as I said, I did already use one because I needed it for my most recent build. But they weren't really part of the haul of parts we got on the deals, but they were ordered kind of just a few days before. I mean, technically I've just ordered a bunch of stuff. I mean, I won't show these, but because they're under my bed, but I've bought some Formula Mod cable extensions. It will come with the GPU extension, motherboard and CPU, and I paid £16.56 for 2 packs. So that works out about £8 something each pack, which is great because you normally pay about £15 to £20 on Amazon. And I've been using these Formula Mod ones from AliExpress for quite some time now. Right, we'll keep opening these little packages for now. This is another... I'm just going to cut it open. This is another box of RAM, same one as earlier, Kilsbury. This is another white box of... These are another, white 16 gigabytes of RAM, 3200 megahertz. They'll do the job for budget builds. So, now we're on to the real good stuff. So as I mentioned, they weren't the only drives I bought. Inside of here, should be, there we go. This is a Crucial P3 Plus. So this is a Gen 4 drive, and obviously that's part of the reason why I bought that B550 motherboard, because if you're using the B450, it only supports up to Gen 3, so you're probably only going to get about 3,500 megabytes out of this if you put it into B450. But with how cheap these were, and I mean they currently, I think they're, let's check Amazon, because when I last looked they were £60 on a sale already. Crucial P3 Plus currently are £60 on Amazon, and that's down from £94, which I think that's just BS. I don't think they're ever that expensive. But we basically paid, let's just find the thing. So we actually bought 2 of these, and we paid £82.22 for 2 1TB Crucial P3 Pluses. So that's about £41 per drive. Now getting a 1TB SSD for £41 is great anyway, but the fact that we've got a solid drive from a reputable brand is great. I think I did actually order another one later down the line because it was even cheaper. So let's just go through. I'm sure I ordered another one. Yeah, once again I ordered one more, which I think is either under my bed. I think this one is the one that was actually 34, and I think the other 2 came already, which actually I know they did. So yeah, so we paid 82 for 2 and then 37 for another one, so that brings us to about 120. So that means we paid about £40 in total for each one, which is great. They will be a solid drive for us to use as well. I think this is more RAM. Did I already open this, didn't I? No, I didn't. So another lot of Kilsbury RAM. It's Kilsbury, isn't it, really, technically, I think. But I'm pretty sure overall we got 3 of them. So yeah, like I said, we got 2 of these for £43.93, so that's £22. But then we also later on seen it again. Like AliExpress is weird how you can just go on it another day or later and it'll just be cheaper. Normally due to coupons or the price drops. But we basically paid £22 for one of these for 2 of them, and then we paid, I think I don't know if you can see that, but £19.48 for this one. So roughly about £21 for them RAM kits. Now we are getting to the end of all the parts. So what's this? We got another, so we got another Crucial P3 Plus. And these are the other ones. Sorry. So 2 Crucial P3 Pluses. So we got them for a good deal. So now we're getting right to the end of everything. The next thing is a motherboard. This is a B450M. Now, I think I paid about £40 for this board. Let me check. So yeah, so this is a Maxon B450M, and I paid £37.62 for this. and that's, like I said before, I always include VAT and delivery in the price I say. Now it is quite a budget board. I've already used one before, but the good thing about it is, compared to something like the Machinist B450, is the motherboard, the BIOS is actually better, to be honest. It looks a lot more modern. And Maxon are actually quite a known company, I believe, in China. They don't do too much in the UK. I do see a few Maxon boards on Amazon, but this one you can't find it. Will come with your SATA cable for hard drives, SSDs, and it'll come with a backplate always. Now, one thing I noticed is I have used before the ASRock boards. I've shown them in my previous videos, but the ASRock boards are a lot wider than this. They're all micro ATX, but in terms of like the width, the ASRock board comes out more. Now I haven't released a video for my most recent build, but you will see in that video that I actually ended up putting one of these boards in there, because the ASRock one actually covered some of the, it came over the back of the PC case and it covered some of the fans, which I wanted to be displayed quite nice. But like I said, it is a budget board. It's only got a 4-pin connector for the CPU and 2 RAM slots, but it does have an M.2 slot, which is handy, and it will be fine for like 2000 series CPUs, 3000 and some 5000. I probably wouldn't go and try and put like a 5800 X3D inside of here. It might be okay, but I just think it might struggle to run it, as it is quite a basic board. But things like the 5600, 5500 will be absolutely fine on this board. So, and I don't know if you guys know, but trying to buy a B450 motherboard, at least in the UK, if you try and buy it on eBay, you're lucky to get them for under £50, and that's the truth of it. A lot of people will try and sell them for £60 or anything like that. So when it comes to B450 motherboards, I pretty much always use AliExpress now. I've had no issues with the boards. They've never arrived faulty or damaged. And you do get warranty with this. It does say 3 years warranty on the box. So if you're wondering if the Maxon B450 boards are okay for budget AM4 CPUs and the lower end ones, then they are absolutely fine. We have got one more motherboard to unbox, and this is for the AM5 CPU we got, the 7500F. Right, let's find the best way to open this. I guess I'm just going to cut it all open. But this should be, and I hope so, a B650M, so a micro ATX B650. Alright, just a quick note about this motherboard. I actually had a lot of issues with it, so it booted up absolutely fine. Of course, when you initially boot it up, XMP is not enabled. All the temps looked fine, so I went into BIOS and I enabled XMP. And then it basically kept telling me that it needs to restart, and it was just stuck in that loop. And then once I turned the PC off and reset the CMOS again, as soon as I tried to turn it on, I did check the motherboard lights underneath the graphics card. The CPU one and it looked like the DRAM one was lit up. And basically I'd done some investigating online and there wasn't much about it. But basically I found a YouTuber who said as soon as you enable XMP on this motherboard, it basically just fries the CPU and the memory chipset. I think something to do with it not adjusting the voltages right. I don't know the details. But basically we ended up refunding this motherboard straight away. Now, one thing to note, actually, the processor and the RAM worked absolutely fine, because I then went and I decided not to completely skimp out on costs, but I got a MSI B650M Gaming Plus, Wi-Fi from Curry's for £140. And I tried the 7500F and the RAM in that motherboard with XMP, and it's all working fine. So yeah, I really don't know what happened there. I think the motherboard just absolutely pooed itself. But yeah, unfortunately it didn't work. There was a lot of good reviews on this, so please don't, judge whether it works or not just by this video. But of course, other people have experienced this. But Maxon's B450 boards work absolutely fine. I've had no issues with them. But I would just be wary about buying budget B650 motherboards. And this is from Maxon as well. Boom. I haven't actually looked at this board yet. I mean, I didn't look at most of the things. I kind of just waited for this video. But it will be a budget board once again. I believe, let's have a look at what I paid for this. Now, I paid £85.27 for this B650M motherboard from Maxon, which is honestly quite a solid deal. Getting a B650 motherboard for under £100 isn't exactly easy. It has got Wi-Fi as well. You've got the antennas. Rear I/O shield. And the SATA cable as well. Alright, so this board does look a little bit more pristine compared to the B450 that I just shown. Like I said, it's got Wi-Fi as well. It has only got 2 RAM slots, but that's absolutely fine. So I assume you could fit up to 64 gigabytes. But budget board, it will look alright, and it should be absolutely fine for like a 7500F, 7600X. I mean, let's have a look at the listing. It does actually say, I mean, I wouldn't go and put like a 7800 X3D in it. I don't know. It should be absolutely fine, but it says TDP 180 watts. So I don't know how much. Let's see what the TDP is of the 7800 X3D, 120 watts. So this board should be absolutely fine for 7800 X3D as well. I mean, like I said, I don't know whether I will be getting 9800 X3D at some point, probably next year, because in the UK it's really hard to get hold of them. Most places I've got them on pre-order. But yeah, I might use this board for the 9800 X3D. Whether it be okay or not, I'm not sure. Or if not, I'll just buy another B650 board from like MSI. But yeah, pretty solid board. And overall, I'm quite happy with that. Like I said, you're lucky to get a B650 board for under £100. So we got a decent deal here. So when you think of it, we paid 85 for this board, 92 for that Team Group RAM, and then like 90 something for the 7500F. So realistically, we got a whole AM5 platform, motherboard, CPU and RAM for under £300. So if you ask me, that's pretty solid. And we are on to the last two items now. But yeah, this is a 500 watt power supply from Ago. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now I will actually just be using these for very budget builds, because I think I paid about £18 for these. Let's try and find them. So I bought 2 of them. One was 1944 and one was 1871. So these would be absolutely fine for like the 2600X builds and 2600. I will test these with my power supply tester just to make sure they're okay. And we have got another one here. Now my camera's just overheated again, so we're not going to bother using that because we're actually right near the end of all the parts that we got. But yeah, so under £40 for 2 power supplies. I did try to look up online about these power supplies. They aren't on the PSU tier list, but there was a few Reddit posts and some people said they were fine and lasted a few years. So hopefully that is the case, and these will be absolutely fine. Now I thought that was it, and then I realised there was one more thing. And it's lucky I realised this, because this is one of the more expensive things we bought as well. Wow, that is really well packaged. I think my camera keeps going out of focus, so sorry about that. But this is the last part now. And last but definitely not least, so we got the 5700X3D. You can't even see it. There we go. So we paid for the 5700X3D. Right, I'm going too far now. We're going into new territory. We paid £129 and 1 pence for this 5700X3D. Now, like I said, I already have a 5800X3D. It performs great, and I was really looking forward to getting one of these CPUs and testing them out. How well do they perform compared to the 5800X3D? I think in price to performance, the 5700X3D is definitely better. Now, I actually got my 5800X3D earlier this year, and it was 200 and something pound, close to anywhere between 250 to 280. But if you try and get a 5800X3D now, or at least just before the 9000 series launched, then they were going for like £300-400, which is ridiculous. But 5700X3D for £129, great deal.